A bit of a... Sup, bitches? Welcome back. I forget which one was it that Pariah asked me to watch. I think it was the second one. I'll wait for Pariah to be back, actually. I'll wait for the people that were watching. Hi, Mega Man. You're watching a crazy person. You know what? I do believe that I am underrated. I do believe I am underrated. No. I do think that I am underrated. So, we are going to start with a Chaos God. What was that? Oh, it's just me being a crazy guy. Oh, hi, little King Keith. Welcome again. Welcome back again. I did not expect to see you again. Today, at the very least. I expected to see you some other stream. With what tweet? Oh, you were... What tweet? You were super sweet. Your tweet was super sweet. What are you talking about? You just said that you thought I was underrated. And I agree. I am underrated. I have the voice of an angel. I don't know why people don't see me more. Like, but I'm not sure what you mean. Like... It was a super sweet tweet. You know? I was actually... I was pretty happy when I read it, at the very least. As I was having my tea time. Because you guys don't have a name for it. You guys don't have a name for it. So, it's tea time. I think. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have a voice of an angel something. You know? So I was utilizing it. Because you have not reacted to Sour Bridge. Well, everything in due time. Listen, Linda. Listen, Linda. Listen, Linda. Everything in its time. Okay, Linda? We will watch Sour Bridge. I know. Beautiful. Well, only the good angels make your ears bleed. You know that I had plans, and I still have plans. I still have plans to do I still have plans to do an audition to the X Factor for YouTube. Obviously, it's going to be a fake audition. It's going to be a joke audition. So what's the first reaction? I was waiting for you, Pariah. The first reaction is what I promised you last week. Remember, Pariah? I think we are going to watch this one. Let's stop the music. Yeah, baby. Now it's just me. Here with you, baby. Oh my. Ooh, oh my. So sexy and ooh. Yeah. You like my deep voice. What's up, baby? How you doing? How you doing? I know. I know. I know. I know. I'm doing fine. Yeah. How you doing? Let's begin the reaction, shall we? True Masters and Morons.
Hello everyone, our topic this week was requested by Nate Dogg. We'll be going over the Chaos
Nate Dogg!
Okay, so first things first. A bit of world setup. For those
Both,
unfamiliar,
yes.
Warhammer 40K
Vegito.
is a
The
sci-fi
answer
world
is
that was
yes.
originally created for a tabletop wargame, and has
Vegito.
since gone
The
on
answer
to
is
include
yes.
role-playing games, video games, novels, etc. Originally set in the 40th millennium, hence the 40K or 40,000 of the game's name, successive iterations of the game have brought the Warhammer 40K series to the end of the 41st millennium. The 40K world is set in a dark, dark imagining of the future that combines sci-fi and fantasy elements, taking place almost entirely within the Milky Way galaxy. An important aspect of the 40K verse to understand for this video is the existence of the Immaterium, more often and hereafter referred to as the Warp. The Warp is a separate dimension of reality that exists adjacent to what is known in-universe as real space, which is simply our world as we know it today, complete with all of the rules of physics and such that we're familiar with. The Warp, on the other hand, is a realm of pure psychic energy. Almost all supernatural
I forgot my voice, I'm sorry.
games are generated using psychic energy drawn from the Warp. Symbiotically, the Warp is seemingly maintained by the collective unconscious wills of all living things in the universe. It is said that in the far distant beginnings of time, that the Warp was like a calm river, flowing and ebbing with the wills and whims of life in real space. But, as time passed, populations grew, and wars were waged all across reality, the Warp became more and more chaotic, churning like an ocean in a storm in the game's modern day, rather than the placid river it had supposedly once been.
In the 40K verse, the concept of the living soul is very much tied up within the Warp. The very ability of psionic beings, called psychers, to reach into the Warp and manipulate real space is based upon the idea that the Warp is essentially pure thought, emotion, will, all of those things that most of us consider to be that spark of life that makes up the living soul. Resultantly, the Warp is also looked upon by some as the ephemeral afterlife of the 40K verse. While a psyker's powers can have amazing effects, these very powers come with dangers similar to those faced by the mages in the Dragon Age games. See our video on how Dragon Age magic works here. In that, much like a Dragon Age mage is vulnerable to demonic possession, psychers in 40K are both subject to possession by malevolent entities residing within the Warp, as well as being physically turned into short-lived portals connecting to the Warp itself by such malevolent creatures, allowing beings and energies from the Warp to enter real space and wreak havoc on reality. In addition to being a maelstrom of raw emotion and home to predominantly unfriendly creatures, the Warp has gained its most common name by also being the space that allows most factions in the 40K games access to FTL travel. As previously mentioned, the known 40K world spans most of the Milky Way galaxy, and societies would be unable to maintain interstellar stability without some form of FTL travel. While the exactitudes of how different factions handle FTL differ, all of them involve breaching into the realm of the Warp, or a space adjacent to it, traveling through the roiling ocean of raw emotions, much like a submarine in a real ocean for a time, before popping back into real space, hopefully closer to their destination than when they started, warping. Though it's not unheard of for a ship to be thrown wildly off course by particularly strong currents. We do keep making these stormy ocean comparisons for a reason.
Given enough time and a large enough scale of input from life in real space, sometimes particular thoughts, aspects, and emotions can coalesce and gain power. Given more time and more emotional fuel, and those gatherings can gain sentience, becoming living, thinking creatures of pure, emotionally flavored psychic energies. The greatest and most powerful of these creatures have come to be known as the Chaos Gods, beings formed from the psychic energy of millennia of galaxies worth of living beings breathing, fighting, hating, and indulging. While many powerful psychic entities exist within the warp, the Chaos Gods are the most powerful. They are also the absolute enemy of all other factions in the game, minus those who choose to serve the Chaos Gods directly. It should be noted that, with rare exception, the mortal forces of the 40k verse do not generally ally together against the forces of chaos, but they do all individually recognize the danger posed by the Chaos Gods and their forces, each faction seeing the Chaos Gods as a major threat, though not necessarily something worth banding together to fight against.
There are 4 Chaos Gods: Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, and Slaanesh, each embodying one or more concepts or emotions taken to a negative excess. The Chaos Gods live and rule over sections of the warp itself and spend most of their time battling each other for dominance, each seeking to utterly destroy the other 3 and gain uncontested rule of the warp, and resultantly, likely, real space thereafter. They are incredibly self-serving, seeking only to fuel the growth of their own power by either turning mortals to their cause, and thus fueling them with whatever thoughts, actions, and emotions the various gods thrive upon, or weakening and destroying their rival gods. Whole regions of influence are created by their will and populated by demons formed from their own power at their whim and reabsorbed just as easily, all working in constant opposition to one another. The Chaos Gods work together in only one of 2 instances. First, and most often, when one of them gains enough power over the other 3 that the then lesser gods fear destruction, at which point they will band together to beat the most powerful one down. But these alliances last exactly until the moment that one of them thinks they have the chance to gain the upper hand, and then it's a free-for-all once more. The second instance is when either some threat to their continued chaotic ways arises, or when an opportunity to spread their chaos arises.
Khorne is usually portrayed as the most powerful of the Chaos Gods, and for good reason. In a setting originally designed for war games, Khorne is the god of blood, war, and murder. He is fueled by simple hate and anger, and is empowered by war and the acts of murder and battle. Khorne is violence and bloodshed personified. He seeks war for the sake of war, battle for the sake of battle, etc., etc. In a very real sense, he, like all 3 of his rivals, is an aspect of chaos incarnate. His followers and demons encourage and pursue straightforward combat, both with mortals and other chaos gods, and even each other. For there is a saying, "Khorne cares not from whence the blood flows, just that it flows." If he had his way, all of reality would be filled with perpetual war. Though, ironically, such a reality would eventually lead to everything dying out, and then, if we understand the warp correctly, Khorne would eventually wither away, with no wars or bloodshed left to sustain him.
It should also be noted that while Khorne enjoys war and bloodshed, he does not advocate the prolonged suffering of those in battle, as such suffering doesn't empower him, but rather one of his rivals, Nurgle. Instead, Khorne goes for the efficient kill, preferring his followers seek out greater challenges worthy of their time rather than waste energy in maiming their foes. While all the Chaos Gods are formed of raw, psychic energy, mortal minds necessitate imagery, and both Chaos Gods and their servant demons are capable of assuming physical forms. Thus, Khorne most often assumes the form of a massive, armored warrior, seen sitting upon a brass throne atop a literal mountain of skulls that some claim come from those crushed by his warriors, others say represent his fallen champions, while still others say they are both. Whatever their source, the mountain grows steadily larger over the passage of time.
Now let's discuss Tzeentch. Tzeentch is the god of fate, plot, and schemes. He feeds upon ambition, change, and the search for knowledge and power. As psychic power is the essence of the warp, and through psychers, the most powerful single agent of change and mutability, Tzeentch favors collecting psychers to his cause, along with the cunning and tenacious. He weaves plots within plots within plots, many taking millennia to come to fruition, or involving things that seemingly go against his own interests. He is scheme incarnate, and rather than plan and plot for some specific goal, he schemes merely to scheme. True, he plots the downfall of his rival gods, but even were he to succeed, he would continue to weave intrigue, for that is his nature. That is what he feeds upon. weaving mortal, demon, and chaos god alike into his plans. Of the four gods, Tzeentch is the least likely to assume a constant form when encountered. Some accounts depict him as a lanky being with spindly extremities and a head sunken into his chest, with a constantly shifting host of faces appearing, fading, and reappearing all over his body that whisper variations or even contradictions of the words spoken by his primary face. Other depictions range from bastardized birds and fish to living smoke or even glowing floating runes.
Next up, we have the infinitely easier to pronounce Nurgle. Nurgle is the god of decay, death, and destruction. He feeds upon despair, fear, and death, but oddly, also hope and rebirth. While unquestionably malign, each of the Chaos Gods has qualities that could be considered noble. Khorne, for example, prefers challenging battle over trampling the weak. Tzeentch extols the pursuit of knowledge. In this regard, Nurgle is a god of decay, yes, but he also understands the cyclical nature of life, that life eventually leads to death, but that the seeds of that death create new life, very literally and immediately in the case of pestilence and disease. And he enjoys the hope and determination of mortals to overcome such obstacles in their path. That being said, he does still consider his many diseases and the suffering he spreads to be gifts, so don't let his cheery demeanor fool you. Nice is not necessarily good. Nurgle most commonly manifests in the form of a massive, green-skinned, bloated creature with pustules and sores and all manner of evidence of horrible wasting diseases covering his corpulent form. Additionally, from many of these orifices weep demons, as well as the things you'd generally expect. Truly a disgusting creature.
Equally disgusting, though in an entirely different manner, we have Slaanesh. Slaanesh is the god of pleasure, decadence, and excess. He feeds upon passion, desire, and excess. Despite the phrasing here, he feeds on these concepts in all of their forms. From the obvious sensual connotations, to everything from lusting for power to obsession with your work and more. Slaanesh is the youngest of the Chaos Gods, with the other three taking form well before the 10th millennium, while Slaanesh wasn't born until the 30th millennium. Slaanesh, in simplest terms, thrives on and encourages excess in all things, encouraging overindulgence in whatever his followers do. Slaanesh also has a notable connection with the Eldari, oversimplification but basically space elves, as he was formed almost entirely because of them. At the height of their power, the Eldari as a culture turned to incredible excess and decadence in literally everything. Whatever you're thinking of right now listening to this, they indulged, excessed, and obsessed in that and everything else conceivable, giving birth to Slaanesh, who, upon his creation, promptly devoured the vast majority of the Eldari species, including most of the other gods formed from the Eldari's actions in previous millennia. Even in the modern day, he devours every fallen Eldari soul that isn't properly protected. He doesn't ignore the other factions, though, encouraging hedonism and decadence in all peoples the galaxy over, and even using and possibly feeding off of the obsession that each of the other Chaos Gods possesses by the very nature of their existences. When manifested, Slaanesh assumes the perfect, most beautiful and appealing form according to whoever is meeting him. Human, Eldari, male, female, etc.
And that is basically the Chaos Gods. Giant crapstorm of horribleness from the Warhammer 40k franchise. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did...
So, Pariah, what was the question you asked me last week? Do you remember? I don't know if you're still here, actually. Some people actually left. Rude. You left in the midst of the reaction. The cornerstone of the channel. Rude. Actually, I forgot to do something. Brilliant. I have to wait. I have to wait for our Pariah to answer me. But while I'm at it, what was the PSA called again, Mega Man? You don't remember? Oh, definitely the knowledge one. Yeah, if I have to choose one of the four, definitely the knowledge guy. I forget their names, but definitely the scheme and knowledge. Definitely that one. Mega Man. Shoot. Shoot. What do you want to see, bruh? I'm feeling generous today. I forgot that I was doing a voice. I always forget. Okay. Yeah, that one. That one, exactly. Is it the first one? Is it this one? Okay. That was kind of disturbing. Okay, from Mother's Basement. That's this one. How to survive your heart.
So you finally got up the nerve to talk to that saucy dish in your class who you're sweet on, and she actually talked back. Your childhood friend who you haven't seen in 10 years just moved back into town, and you're already getting along like she never left. And your little sister has taken to cooking wholesome American lunchboxes full of jelly donuts, hash browns, and mashed potatoes for you. I bet you're feeling pretty good about yourself right now. Well, stop, because you found yourself in a dangerous situation that has spelled disaster for many men across America. You are now the protagonist of a harem anime, and if you
Oh my god!
destroy your life. I know what you're thinking. How could this possibly be a bad thing? Dames...
I think I stopped on that part. I'll let this out. Is it better like this?
chasing after me left and right? Who could be unhappy about that? You good son.
I can't
because
show
your life
that.
is now in a state of karmic imbalance. For every bit of fortune you experience with the opposite sex, you will find equal misfortune in everything else. You must prepare yourself for a string of disasters that could ruin your life, and enough accidental sexual assaults to start your own hashtag. By the way, you're going to want to take notes on this because odds are you're pretty dumb and, in all honesty, just the worst. Now that you're sufficiently aware of the danger, the standard advice for any disaster scenario applies. Don't panic. However, it is of even greater importance to a harem anime protagonist, because in the event that you do panic, it will result in you accidentally stripping or groping someone. The laws of physics themselves are now conspiring to get all of your female acquaintances naked whenever possible. Think of it like Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wild will go wild. You must practice your balance and maintain constant awareness of what's behind you, just in case someone accidentally bumps into you and then you stumble forward 5 feet and somehow hook your fingers around your classmate's skirt while your face gets buried in her bosom. And then also a second girl will trip and her butt will land on your other open palm. You might think that you can just avoid this by never going outside, but if you do, all of the girls you know will come over to your house to see if you're okay. One of them will arrive first, and the second one will arrive just in time to see you accidentally end up in a compromising position after you stumble while trying to get your guests some wholesome American coffee and beer. This happens every time without fail. And don't even consider asking your parents for help. They've already fucked off to Europe without a trace. You have no choice but to go about your daily routine as usual. Accidents will inevitably happen, but if you're careful, you can keep them to a minimum. Remember your ABCs: awareness, balance, and clenched fists. Because you can't accidentally strip or grope someone if your hand isn't open. Although this will result in you punching a lot of tits. Now that you're practicing basic safety protocols, it's time for the most important step of all: identifying your harem. Every harem is made up of tropes, extremely strong traits that define a girl's entire personality. While it might seem like a sociological event, a harem is actually a weather pattern that naturally occurs when 3 or more of these tropes converge in a single classroom. These tropes will naturally gravitate toward the most boring person in the room, that's you, drawn to his total lack of personality like opposite poles of a magnet. Identifying which of these tropes have formed your harem is the key to your survival. The first one you must be aware of is the tsundere.
Hey, Theodora is not... Theodora is not a harem.
This shifting pattern is responsible for much of the chaos in a harem weather system. And in all
okay, fair enough.
There is always at least one tsundere present. Scientists have theorized that it is possible for a harem to form without a tsundere, but this has never been observed in nature. The tsundere can be identified by her telltale catchphrase, "It's not like I did it for you or anything, babaka," as well as the fact that she's just a total bitch, like, all the time. If you upset the tsundere, remember, protect the head and neck. Your first instinct may be to guard your groin against her assault, but this is a mistake. You need to be prepared for a roundhouse kick, a suplex, or an uppercut that sends you flying until you're a little cartoon twinkle on the horizon. 95% of harem protagonists suffer some sort of brain damage in their first week as a result of the tsundere's cute antics. And while this mostly just results in some degree of social or cognitive disability, causing subjects to exhibit an inability to read basic social cues or just make up their fucking minds already, in extreme cases, the consequences can be deadly. Though not nearly as deadly as a harem with a yandere in it. A yandere is like a tornado, pleasant and calm when you're at the center of her world, but violent and destructive as soon as you try to leave it.
Come on, show the Dulcimer that we all love and hate at the same time.
And her insistence on
Where's Yune? Where's Yune? Come on, where's Yune?
If you are unlucky enough to end up in this worst...
Bullshit, nah, she doesn't count. She doesn't count. She's fucked up in the head. She doesn't count. She doesn't count. And Elfen Lied is not a harem. She doesn't count. Elfen Lied is not a harem. It's a great anime. And she is not a yandere. She's not a yandere. She doesn't count. Sure, she kills some people, but it's not because of him. It's not because of him.
Case scenario, you have
like you people have never killed someone. At least once. Like, come on. Don't bullshit me.
One option. Run, and run fast. You will need to fake your death, move to a different country, preferably on a different continent, and assume a new identity there. If you need help with this, please refer to the previous tape in this series. So you think you're a Zappelli. Fortunately, the yandere is a very rare occurrence.
There's Yune!
Although, because, as we have established, you are the worst, it is entirely possible that you could transform one of your other, less dangerous tropes into a yandere by being a total goddamn jackass. Jackass. As such, it is vital that you know and
Rin is not a
what other
yandere.
forces are at play in your life. Here are the tropes you are most likely to encounter, ranked in order of potential danger. First, there's the sadodere, or sadist, a girl who expresses her affection mainly by physically and emotionally abusing you. While this can be good fun in a controlled environment,
she is not as well.
consenting adults with a safe word,
she's just a girl.
In day-to-day life, it is likely to cause many problems for you. On her own...
Actually, in that anime, that guy is the total idiot. I despise him so much in that anime.
She's an annoyance, but her tendency to lie and manipulate other people can dramatically amplify the typical dangers inherent in a harem system. Fortunately, the sadist is easy to identify by her behavior once she...
yeah. Yes. Akame ga kill. Yeah. But you know what? I actually like her and the dude together. I actually like them together.
To be nice. So once you're aware of her, keep your distance, unless you're into that. And whenever another girl seems to be mad at you for no reason in particular, ask the sadist if she had anything to do with it and wouldn't mind clearing things up if she did. The himedere, ojo, or princess, is almost as arrogant and demanding as the sadodere, though without her typical manipulative facade of sweetness. You can spot a princess a mile away from her haughty demeanor, but if you're not good...
Come on, the biggest himedere there is. Like there's no Himedere. Like Frieza, someone. Like yeah, no, that's accurate.
You're not good at picking
That's
up on
100%
social
accurate.
cues, and let's be real here, you're not. You can also identify her by this noise.
Yes, yes.
In the early stages of a harem's development, the Himedere's stubbornness may prove troublesome. However,
hate it.
she
I
is
hate
not
it.
prone to violence like
I
the
hate that sound.
tsundere, so your only worry around her should be any servants that she may have, who are probably retired assassins or something. You'd be surprised at just how many hitmen make the jump to domestic servitude. Then there's the Genki girl, or Dere Dere. Always warm and sunny, but still a bit chaotic. You can typically identify this girl by her interest in sports ball, as well as her cheerful, adorable smile. This is the least dangerous of all the tropes, except in the vicinity of the tsundere, where her oblivious, good-natured affection will probably get you punched. Repeatedly. There's also a possibility that the Dere Dere could secretly be a yandere, so watch out for telltale signs, such as use of the word senpai and the frequent disappearance of cats and other small animals in your neighborhood. Finally, the kudere, literally cool dere, and dandere are both quiet and mostly stick to themselves. One out of detachment and lack of emotion, the other out of shyness. Both can be identified
How
by
good?
their general
How
lack of
good was Angel Beats? Like how good was Angel Beats? Really good.
When approached, a kudere will respond cynically and pragmatically, while a dandere will typically blush and stammer. Neither poses any substantial threat, though it is advised that you check on the kudere once per day just to make sure she's not dead. There are further variations on these tropes that you may encounter, as well as rarely occurring tropes such as drunken older harlot and the kane-dere, who wants your money. But it is highly unlikely that your harem will include any of these, and even if it does, they probably won't matter. By and large, 99% of harems consist of the tropes mentioned before with slightly different hair colors. Note that it is entirely possible that your younger sister will manifest one of these tropes, usually either the Genki girl, the kudere, or the tsundere. This used to be a very rare occurrence, but in the last decade it has become much more common, something many scientists are attributing to global climate change. If this happens to you, you need to remember one key thing above all else. Don't fuck your sister!
Yes! 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 Don't do it! Don't do this to your sister! Yes! Yeah. Yeah. How can I put this? How can I put this, people? It hurts me. Physically. Hurts me. When this happens in a show, and it's not like just brotherly, sisterly love. It's actually, you know, love. I actually stopped reading this manga. I never watched this anime, Eromanga Sensei, but I did read. I never watched the anime, but I did read the manga. I stopped it because it was getting too much. Yeah, it was just no. It was just no, no. Yeah. When the little sister character is kind of tsundere, but it's like, it's just she wants attention from her brother and something along those lines, but not actual wants to be with him and marry him. That's fine. But when she actually wants to marry him, which is, there's an anime in which that actually happens, no, that's wrong. I don't care if she's your stepsister, which is the case here. It doesn't fucking matter.
She's your sister.
Yes.
You may discover that your sister is adopted. She may actually be your stepsister or your
Doesn't
cousin.
matter.
In such special circumstances,
It doesn't
still
matter.
don't have sex with her, you degenerate garbage human beings.
Yes!
Jesus H. Christ, there are
Yes.
half a dozen beautiful, not related to you at all women in your life right now. What's
Don't.
wrong with
Don't.
you?
Don't.
Now that
Don't.
you have properly identified your harem, you can plan your escape.
Hi,
Assuming you
unit.
don't die or get arrested, this can end in one of two ways. Either the system achieves equilibrium and you are stuck in a perpetual loop of hijinks surrounded by girls who won't actually have sex with you, or you pick one and spend the rest of your life with her. Because we all know that high school dating is the strongest, most lasting kind of romance. It is highly advised that you pursue the latter option, as attempting to sustain a harem in the long term dramatically increases the chance of death by yandere. So, to escape, you must pick a girl. This will be hard for you. If making up your mind was in your nature, you wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. But I promise you this. Realizing that you have feelings for someone and then telling them how you feel isn't rocket science. People do it literally every day. Some people multiple times in one day. But their lives are complicated. And if you don't want your life to be complicated, you need to stop wasting everyone's time and make up your fucking mind for once. If you need help, remember, the Genki girl is usually best girl. Once you've completed the Herculean task of deciding which girl you're most attracted to, your next step is to confess your feelings to her. Because if you wait for her to do it, trust me, you're going to be here for a while. This will not go smoothly, so when you make your confession, you're going to want to make a few backups. That means writing down on paper exactly how you feel in clear, impossible to misinterpret language, making sure to both sign your name and explicitly address it to her, then taking a picture of the paper with your cell phone, and finally getting the text both engraved on a metal dog tag and tattooed somewhere on your body that has no lewd connotations whatsoever. That might sound excessive, but it's probably still not enough. When you meet the girl to tell her how you feel, another girl will inevitably interrupt you right in the middle of a word that the girl you like can misinterpret to mean that you have feelings for someone else. Fortunately, you have already slipped your note into her bag just in case of such an emergency, and when her bag catches fire or is stolen, you, being prepared, have already texted the note to her as well. That image will probably be corrupted, which is where the dog tags come in. And, well, I think you get the idea. It is imperative that you actually effectively convey how you feel, and don't let yourself get tricked into thinking she rejected your confession due to a simple misunderstanding. Otherwise, you could be in for a series of increasingly ridiculous events as the harem system builds to a climax around you. And even if you weather the storm, there is a better than average chance that you will be in for another harem season if you don't manage to definitively lock that down. If you complete all of these steps and are still rejected, then you have probably not weathered the harem long enough. Select a different girl and try again in 3 to 4 weeks. And in the meantime, while you are weathering this storm, remember A, B, C, D. Awareness, balance, clenched fists, and don't fuck your sister. This message was paid for and approved by His Holiness, the Anime Pope.
I hope everyone I hope everyone in the stream listen to this. I hope everyone heard this. I hope everyone paid attention to it, especially the last few sentences. Especially that. Yeah. No, that was good. That was funny. That was funny. I really enjoyed this one because it's obviously it's a jab on harem. It's a jab on harem and the craziness that harems actually are. I've seen my fair share of harems. You know, I always enjoy the awkward comedy that they have sometimes. I've seen my fair share. There are some harems that I cannot because they are a bit too much. I tried watching High School DxD. I couldn't. It was just too much. I felt dirty. And the story was actually decent, but I just couldn't watch High School DxD. But I've watched a few harems in my time, and some of them were interesting. Some of them were a hot piece of garbage, like The World God Only Knows. Let's not even talk about that anime/manga, because it's shit. It starts to be interesting, but then it's shit. It's absolute trash. So, yeah. Yeah, that doesn't happen in real life, Mega Man. I'm sorry to be the one to break it to you. I'm sorry to shatter your dreams and hopes, but that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen in real life. I'm afraid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, buddy. Yeah. I'm not saying that the story wasn't good. It was just too much. It was so lewd. So lewd. I have a limitation of lewdness that I can intake. You know? There's a line. There's a line for me. Yeah, you never do know, but I have my high serious doubts, and I'm pretty sure if anyone were to be isekai'd harem, it would end up being kind of like Konosuba, a useless goddess, a useless knight, a useless mage. So I'm like 90% sure that that's what would happen. I'm afraid. So, like, apology video. Let's do this.
A long sigh is a great way to start an apology video. So some of you may have expected my usual colorful animated style, but for an apology video, I feel I needed to address my audience in a more genuine way because nothing says genuine and authentic quite like the acting classes I took. Now, some of you might be wondering why a channel that deals in terrible writing advice would make a video on apologies. I'm just getting ahead, since I will no doubt inevitably screw up in the PR department and be forced to issue a career-saving apology. Yes. Perhaps I let fly a racial slur, and only the blood of my career will sate the righteous anger of the internet's denizens. Perhaps I suffered a concussion and thought that a terrible writing advice on sexual assault tropes was a great idea. Maybe someone finally found the beaten and starving ghostwriters I keep chained up in my basement that write these episodes. Regardless of the reasons, I need to apologize to save my hide. And I thought I might as well teach other writers to do their own apology videos, because in these times, absolutely no one is too obscure that one day they might wake up to find an internet hate mob at their door.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
But I must teach everyone how to do an apology video. Now, after the long sigh, the first thing needed for an apology video is to not apologize. This is very important. The first point in an apology video is to state that I am very sorry other people were offended by what I did.
I'm sorry. I need to take notes.
author said. The important thing to remember is that I am always the victim here, and that I'm entitled to everyone's sympathy. What needs to be done to earn this sympathy? By being the victim, obviously, and certainly not by explaining any extenuating circumstances in a clear and easy to understand way. People on the internet said very mean things about me after all, and that is totally equivalent to misleading millions of underage fans to a gambling website or using my position of power and authority to solicit young women through blackmail. Speaking of those awful things, the next phase of the apology video should be filled to the brim with weak excuses and shallow justifications. There is no excuse for what I did, but I'm going to offer those excuses anyway. It's okay that I embezzled hundreds of thousands of dollars because I deserved it since the company was dumb enough to let me manage their money. Yes, I emotionally abused my employees, but they shouldn't have been so weak. And I had no idea that exposing yourself to a fan during a private meetup in a hotel room wasn't okay. I mean, how was I supposed to know that? It's not like our culture has a deep shared taboo of nudity that would have given me the context needed to understand my behavior was inappropriate. Everyone else was doing it, so that makes it
Okay, Mega Man. I'm taking notes, okay? I'm taking notes. So I'll be ready. I'm going to be ready. I might as well just make like 5 apology videos, just in case. You know, you never know.
okay when I do it. Young men in their late 50s just didn't know any better. Wait, I got it. I'm depressed. Hiding behind depression can be a very important go-to tactic when it comes to staving off the internet's vengeance and provide an easy out for any and all reprehensible actions. I'm not worried about real people who suffer from depression calling me out. What are they going to do? They're depressed. Speaking of depressing, let's check that like to dislike bar to see how things are going. Whoa, not so good. Maybe I should pick something else, something obscure. I know everyone is angry about that video where I made a homeless man twerk while I rained dollar bills on him, but in my defense, I suffer from eosinophilic esophagitis? Well, that sounds bad, so I'm sure it will win me lots of sympathy points and easily wave away any and all past transgressions. Wow, I sure am looking around an awful lot as though I'm searching for a way out. Any way out of this freaking mess. Too bad for me that I need to stretch out this video for more ads. Is it tasteless to use an apology video to generate ad revenue?
Of course not.
You bet. Shameless even. But I'm going to do it anyways because apology videos, like most online drama, is solid freaking gold in terms of views and traffic. After all, I'm not here to really apologize for the thing I did, but to add another notch to my precious brand. Speaking of which, let's check the engagement. Dislike bar. Oh man, this is not going very well. I don't think people are buying it and might see through my self-serving ad placements and petty rationalizations. I need a new tactic. Well, what I did might be bad, but other people have done worse. See, I just deflected onto someone else. Pick another pseudo-celebrity to rail against, preferably someone high-profile with a lot of baggage, who can make me look good in comparison. The modern world is full of awful people that can help me lower that apology bar so I can step right over it. Yes, whatever my transgression is will not be erased, but that's not the point. The point is to distract everyone. This can also just as easily be accomplished by talking about some other greater societal ill or problem. Just remember to not accidentally and concisely frame your transgressions against real problems in a way that sets everything into perspective. The goal is to deflect externally, not reflect internally. That not working? Well, that's just the first punch. Now for the follow-up. You see, I may be an immoral scumbag who did something unspeakable, but I intend to use this experience to grow as a person. You see, I learned a lot about not getting caught, and where I need to look to improve myself and to help those around me. I am truly awakened to the full harm I have caused and will change for the better. I won't, but that doesn't sound as good. Okay, let's see if that worked. Nope. I need to break out the big guns. Better bring on the tears. Crocodile tears is the best bet for swaying the audience. Bawling like a bratty child is an instant method to win over a group of people sick of your immature antics. Admittedly, this mostly works if you're cute and a girl. Guys just have to settle with speaking in a shaky voice. Can't cry on command? Just watch Shawshank Redemption. That always turns on the waterworks. There's got to be a good Adobe After Effects plugin that generates fake tears. Has all of this failed? Is creating a video to apologize too much work? Well, then it's time to turn to the corporate apology. We deeply apologize for the harm we have caused. The actions of those who did this are not in line with our core values. We will strive to do better in the future and set into place systems to prevent such an occurrence from happening again. See? You can fit all that into a tweet. I'm sure those 230 characters will make up for the tens of thousands of children our company poisoned because we greased a few palms in the FDA to push our product through without proper testing. Which brings us to the best way to handle an apology video. You see, there is an easy trick for escaping this whole mess without the need for an apology video at all. To do this, the first and most important step, don't skip this part, is to be a mega super rich billionaire.
Right.
So get on that. Then, all one has to do is build a massive wall made out of cash and man that wall with the best PR department and spin doctors money can buy, all while hiding your identity behind a large, faceless corporation. This is what we call easy mode. If things get really bad, then ruthlessly sacrifice. Let go of a couple of middle managers. Yeah, just throw a couple of stooges to the wolves. That should placate the internet's endless career bloodlust for a few days at least.
Of
See?
course.
That was painless. For me. Boy, it's a good thing that doesn't happen to people without access to near endless financial resources or who lack a pre-established audience. That would be near impossible to come back from, especially if they have no experience understanding narratives, because creating an apology video is all about controlling the narrative, and the narrative that needs to be cultivated is one that shows weakness and confirms guilt, not one that lays out the evidence in a clear and concise manner and allows for the audience to make up their own mind. But what if one finds themselves having to make an apology video even though no heinous act was committed? I know this is far-fetched. When has the majority been in the wrong before? That would never happen. Just like the people of the internet losing all sense of perspective. Still, theoretically, if one sincerely believes they didn't do anything wrong, then the best thing to do is to abandon one's principles as soon as possible and grovel like the spineless, greedy brand slave that they are. Because an apology video isn't about apologizing, but rather a stopgap public relations measure to patch up short-term subscriber loss. No one makes an apology video to defend their values, principles, morals, choices, or anything else. They are here to defend something more important, the brand.
Of course.
I really do sincerely feel bad for whatever horrible thing I did to merit making an apology video. I am so sorry. I promise to do better. I swear to you from the bottom of my heart that from this moment on, I will not be greedy, petty, or self-serving. That I have truly changed into someone who is authentic and honest. I would never cynically use an apology video to push my brand because I'm above that. Because I have apologized. So don't forget to check out my merch. Also be sure to like and subscribe. Ring that notification button. Should I have spaced those out a little more?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready for the apology. I need to do this. I need to do this, and I'm going to fetch a sad song. I'm going to fetch a sad song. Okay. Okay, people, whenever you're ready. Mega Man, tell me when's my cue to begin the apology video. Because I have everything ready. I have everything ready. Lock and loaded. Okay. Okay. I am terribly sorry. I know my actions have no excuse. I know they have no excuse. But from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry, I'm sorry, it's just too hard. I never meant to do it. I never meant for it to be like this. You know, it started as just a vacation. And then it became so much more. But it's not... I hope you understand that it's not my fault. I hope you understand that I have a problem. I'm a hypochondriac. I know. It's a terrible, terrible disease. And it's because of that that... I'm sorry. It's because of that that I... It's because of that that I, It's because of that that I wasn't able to do it. I hope you can forgive me. Sincerely. You see, I just was not educated that way. And I know that society has evolved, but it's just not my fault. As you might have seen on Twitter, the apology from the corporation and Rosa. Everything that was said there is true. It does not. This is not who I am. It does not represent my brand. It does not represent my values. And you have to believe me. You have to believe me because if you don't, I just don't know what I'll do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just so hard to talk about this. I'll do better. I promise. I will do better. So I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry for what I did not do. I should have known better. I should have known much better. And also, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share it with your friends and all that good stuff. Please also don't forget to go to the link in the description of this live stream so that you can donate and all of that good stuff. Also, don't forget that Media Share is active and it's just $5 or $1. I don't know. But you can also donate to get your video on stream. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Just goodbye. So, how was that? How was that? I think it was pretty good. I think it was pretty good. I didn't stretch it out anymore because I was getting tired of doing it. You know, my eyebrows were getting tired of frowning. But I think that was pretty good. I think that was pretty good. I'm ready for the big leagues. Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. I knew. I like, personally, I've always felt like that was the only, you know, I'm just that good. I'm just that good. With my Pepsi-Dent smile. I'm just that good. What can I say? What can I say? Like, anyone recognize that song? By the way, out of curiosity, anyone recognizes that song? Actually, I can't, Mega Man. I have to go. I have to go. It's been it's been a while. Besides, everyone is leaving, so everyone is leaving me. Nobody cares. Nobody cares anymore. But yeah, no, I have to leave. I have to leave. So don't forget to give 5 stars to that apology video. Don't forget to rate 5 stars. Don't forget to like, share it with your friends, and all that good stuff. And yeah. And yeah. It's pretty cool. But before I leave, I just want to know. Anyone recognizes the song that I was listening to in the apology video? I'm curious. Oh, definitely. Definitely. I'm definitely going to need that in the future, so, you know, it's gonna come in handy. You know. Because, you know, I'm definitely going to get cancelled by some bullshit. So, eventually, I'm going to have to make an apology video. So, it's going to come in handy. Like, definitely. Definitely. So yeah, I already bookmarked it. I've already have it saved. For posterity. You know. Just in case. You never know. You never know. I don't know. You never know. I don't know. You never know. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, I still want to know. Anyone recognizes the fucking song? Because there's like 3 people watching right now. So people. People of the internet. Do you recognize the song? I'm curious. I'm curious to know if anyone recognizes the song. Or even knows the name of the song. If you know the name of the song, that's actually kudos. Okay? Let's see if anyone else wants to answer the question. It doesn't seem like it. Okay. So, this song, Mega Man, is from Hunter x Hunter. It's called Elegy of the Dynast. It's the song that, you know, the king, Meruem, has. Especially when he is with Kumogi. Oh, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. So, I'm going to say it like this. They both did exactly the same thing. Quite honestly, they both did exactly the same thing, right? One's purpose was to obviously inform about the harem genre, right? So the PSA, basically, what was doing was obviously pointing out the characteristics and some of the genre-related aspects of what is to be a harem. What an harem manga or anime What? I'm sorry? You have not watched Hunter x Hunter? The guy that has been pressing me to watch ReZero Season 2 and to watch My Hero Academia has not seen one of the greatest masterpieces of animation, Hunter x Hunter. What? Bruh. Bruh. Oh my god. But, as I was saying, the apology video was also very interesting, you know. There was like, what, a year and a half ago, apology videos were things that just existed like in huge amounts. I remember almost like 9 out of 10 channels would probably make an apology video. You had so much drama. You had, you know, everyone was copying PewDiePie, let's be honest. Everyone was copying PewDiePie, which was the one that started the apology videos, more or less. You know, before that was the breakup videos. That's also something that happened a lot. You know, those we're breaking up videos. You know, those happened a lot. And I hope you don't. I hope you don't harass the other person and blah 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 blah. You know, all that good stuff. But the apology video was very interesting. It explains a lot what these people do, but it also teaches you to be more careful with these apology videos, because again, a lot of creators have done apology videos about one thing or another. In my personal opinion, I think the apology video is more informative for a simple aspect. It helps the viewer identify possibly fake apologies, which happen a lot on the internet, right? So I think that video is a bit more important than the harem PSA, but for the sole reason that it actually helps people not to be fooled by these degenerates that you know, go on the internet and make these fake apologies and pretend to be self-righteous and to be actually sorry about some horrible bullshit that they did not know they couldn't do, right? So that's why I think, you know, to answer your question, which one is more informative, I think it's the apology video. But the harem PSA, it's a good introduction to harem. And to what harem is, right? Because a lot of harems have that template, right? So because a lot of harems and a lot of animes with the harem genre follow a lot of the tropes that were discussed in the harem PSA, I think it's also very important to study the PSA because well, it is true. It is true that, you know, that PSA helps you understand more of the tropes and helps you identify what could be a good harem or a bad harem, depending on how strong, right, they go with the tropes. Because obviously a genre and tropes in a genre serve as a guideline. They don't serve as the rule, they serve as a guideline to ensure that you are writing or building the right world in the right genre, right? Whether it's harem, whether it's western, whether it's a drama or a romantic comedy or western spaghetti or a noir or a neo-noir, whatever it is, an action film, whatever. There are tropes and there are certain aspects that need to be a part of the writing, of the book, of the film, of whatever, in order to you as the viewer be able to identify what you're watching as a member of that genre. Right? A member of the genre. And pop quiz, what is the ABCD of a harem protagonist? I'm not going to say the last one because, you know, I guess I don't want to be caught saying that regardless. So it's awareness, balance, close your fists, and don't do bad things to your sister. Don't do bad things to your sister. That's the most important one in my opinion. Don't have nasty thoughts about your sister. And don't do anything nasty to your sister. That's very important. But yeah. You know, the PSA really helps you understand what is the genre. What is the genre, right? The PSA really helps you understand and have a feel for the harem genre. And, you know, I say the harem genre, obviously it could belong to any other type of genre. But again, it's important to know if you want to be able to identify what you're watching. And if you are an analyst or a film critic, and you are analyzing a harem, and you want to know how to identify that it is a harem, this video is a good explanation to anyone who might be new to the harem genre. A good way to identify the tropes that are a part of a lot of harems. So, in general, I think they are both very informative. Although I think one is more important due to the popularity of YouTube, right? A lot of people don't really care about identification of a genre, so it's just for those who actually care about genre and what is a genre and how to identify a genre and all of that good stuff. If you are a writer, it's a good video for you. If you are a critic or an analyst, it's a good video for you because it helps you yeah, no, it's good to do that. It's good to do that. And and you know, it describes what the protagonist in a harem is like by constantly insulting the viewer, by saying that he's dense, that he's an idiot, that he's clumsy, that he's going to get in trouble, that he's a dumbass, that he doesn't have personality. You know, it does it without remorse. It calls the viewer an idiot because he is the protagonist. And that's funny. That's really funny. But yeah, in general, that's more or less what I wanted to say regarding genre and all of that good stuff. Yeah. I think personally, I think this is going to be the first live stream I'm going to leave public, right? It's not something that I usually do. I usually unlist the live streams because I don't know, it just feels like it's kind of stupid to leave them public, in my personal opinion. But I think I'm going to try with this live stream to leave it public. And I'll see if that works fine. And if I don't mind it. But yeah. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys... Oh, definitely. You know, Mega Man, anything that is related to cinema, I love reacting to. You know, if it's reacting to a story and analyzing it, if it's reacting to an animation and analyzing it, and criticizing it, and all of that good stuff, anything related to cinema is something that I will always happily react to. Whether it's about a specific aspect of cinema, or whether it's about the general aspect. Because, you know, that's what I studied. That's what I went to university to learn. That's my area, you know. That's what I'm knowledged about. That's what I have knowledge about. And with all sincerity, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about films. I want to talk about shows. I want to talk about anime. Because, you know, those things are the things that I appreciate a lot. And you know, I hope you understand, it's not just anime. I also love movies. I love TV shows. You know, for me, cinema is all that is related to this area of art and entertainment, right? Anything related to it. So, if you have a video regarding terrible sound advice and how not to record sound on a show, terrible makeup advice, terrible stuff, or if you want me to react to a production, a cool production, for instance, an innovation on a production, for instance, much like the one actually give me a second. So I think I think I have it on my computer. Let me just see if I'm right. So I think I have it on my computer. It's something that I did kind of a long time ago. No, not here. Let me see if I can find it. Right. I think it's this one. Yeah, I think it's this one. I'm going to exclusively show you something. And I think you are one of the last persons here. Allow me to exclusively show you something. Let's see if I can find it here. Let's see if I can find it. If I can find a way of showing this. I actually I don't know if you can see all of it here. So before I explain what this is, so this is one of the first first papers, essays that I had to do in university. I did this on my first year of university. And yeah, we talked about it. We talked about that Mega Man on last week's stream. I also got the notification of Little Kuribo's upload. So yeah. But as I was going to say, so this is called The Legacy of 2001. It's a visual essay, that I did for a class in my school, and it's about cinema. It's to answer the question, what is cinema, right? And you know, this is one of the first works that I did, and I think it describes pretty much my feelings about cinema. So watch it. Tell me what you think. I don't know if you can see it really well. I don't know if you actually can see this well, but this was made by me. Yeah, you can't. You can't see it well. Yeah, I thought so as much. Yeah, the thing is, I how can I actually, if I do, what if I do this? Can I actually? I can't. Give me a second. Give me a second. You know what? I'm going to do it here, and I'm going to do it right like this. This should work like I want it to. Let's do it. You know, on the lines is this. Okay, now let's do this. Like so. And then center it. Okay, so you tell me what you think of this. I was actually pretty proud of this, personally. By the way, I'm going to translate this for you. This is a literal translation to how it was made. So, in case you're wondering, this is initial conceptual art. That's what the title said. I got a B+ on this one, so I'm actually pretty proud.
There's one shot which is an amazing shot.
Special effects. Practical special effects.
All in within one frame, where Gary is at the top of the wheel up here, and there's a hub here, and you see me climbing. He's eating up here, sitting at a table. I climb down a ladder from the hub to the bottom of the wheel, get some food, and apparently, because it's all one frame, walk up the side of the wheel to an upside down position and slide in next to him. And that's with no computer-generated effects. This was done, everything in 2001 was done physically.
you can see that sound-wise I was still a bit rough when it came to editing. But yeah, this is how it was made. 2001 is a fascinating movie in my opinion. I love it to pieces. But yeah, this is how the effect was made. Like, isn't this fascinating?
The diamond shapes floating in this weird kind of almost liquidy landscape were taking 35mm prints of the Stargate sequence and projecting them onto little triangle-shaped facets of these diamond-shaped tetrahedrons. So each of those each facet of the tetrahedron is actually a movie being projected onto a white plastic tetrahedron. So it would be one pass. Camera gets wound back, the projector gets moved to the other side, another exposure, on and on and on, over multiple tetrahedrons, and it just took hours and hours and days of photography to transpose those movies onto all those facets. The surface below was an extrapolation of the slit scan technique. Instead of having the slit, which created this perfectly flat wall, which was either horizontal or vertical at times, I took the slit and hid it from the camera, but allowed you to see the slit as a reflection off of a bumpy cylinder of plexiglass, mirrored plexiglass. So what happened was that the camera is still doing the slit thing and moving in and out and taking a minute to shoot each frame of film, but instead of it being absolutely flat, it was an irregular reflection off of a drum that was rotating. And this created this kind of liquid, turbulent terrain that looked like water or looked like land or looked like sand.
We had to make a pen float in space close by William Sylvester, who was lying asleep in a seat. So we devised a rig, which was a large circular sheet of glass surrounded by steel and bearings so that we could rotate the sheet of glass. And then we had some double-sided tape, newly invented, and we put the pen on with the double-sided tape on the glass, and then we rotated the glass so it floated in space.
Then that first moment where we
This is
see
about the sound.
the space station beautifully outlined against the inky blackness of infinite space, you hear the music of the Blue Danube, and you recreate in your mind everything most beautiful, everything most elegant, everything most precious about the entire history of art and manners, courtliness, ritual, everything is rehearsed in your mind.
Stanley had a real respect for sound and the impact that sound can have on a movie.
Anyone knows this guy?
Most films today are very busy with sound. There's dialogue constantly, there's music that's very dense with a big orchestra. 2001 is really at the opposite end of that kind of style, where you kind of have one sound at a time. For example, wonderful sequences in the film where you just hear the breathing astronaut.
You just get that breathing.
And that breathing is like music.
Where Stanley would be sitting at a moviola here, I would be
This is about
doing
editing.
bench work, as it were, feeding him the film. He would be looking at it, selecting, marking, being run through a moviola, pencil marks back to me to cut, paste on with a joiner or join with a joiner, build it up through the spools. Very much the way that you see.
I built the choreography from different animals, different parts of the body
I think that's self-explanatory.
Speeds.
We would all do a ballet class. Then Dan would set us these mind exercises, stretch exercises, and all the interacting. And then it went from there. And as he said earlier, we then were brought up to the zoo to watch things, to study the apes, and then to get our own interpretation of it.
Stanley was walking back to the studio, and he had a broomstick.
and he was throwing this broomstick up in the air.
This is how some of
And I
the
was quite worried
ideas
that it
came
might
from.
come down on him. And I think that was when he got the idea of this transition, which of course is what happened. The bone goes up and turns into what is supposed to be an orbiting space bomb, a weapon in space. Although that isn't made clear, we just assume it's some kind of space vehicle, and there's a 3 million year jump cut.
This is honestly probably my best work.
The monolith is
From
essentially
3
a
years in
teaching
CinemaScope.
machine. In fact, our original idea was to have something with a transparent screen on which images would appear, which would, teach the apes, what we, how to fight each other.
They are now
and
appearing on
maybe
Earth,
even make
so.
fire. But that was much too naive an idea. So eventually we sort of bypassed it and just a device which we didn't explain, but it affected their minds directly. When they touched it and things happened to their brains and they were transformed.
It was one of the last days of shooting for me on the film, and we were all very relaxed, and Stanley was very open to any ideas. And one of the discussions we had was how we would go from each stage of aging to the next, and I think I may have contributed the idea of specifically never returning to the younger age, but that he would suddenly cut to whatever it was the younger version saw, and you'd cut to the older version looking back at the first version, but the first version wasn't there anymore. No puff of smoke, no dissolve, just wasn't there. And I think I contributed the idea of the glass as being one of the ways to go from the character sitting at the table eating to the next jump in age.
So the end here. This is because I had no idea how to finish the essay, and actually this finale is the reason why I didn't get more than a B+. So what's written here, because you can't read it, is cinema are the people that dedicate their life to the creation of this great art. Without them, none of this would have been possible. And this practically sums up my ideology about cinema and about what cinema means. It's not about the finished product. It's about all of the intricacies that that make cinema. When my teacher asked the class in Introduction to Cinema, when he asked the class to make an essay, a visual essay to answer the question, what is cinema? And he asked us to pick a movie from a list and to utilize that movie to represent what is cinema. In my honest opinion, I could not think of anything else but the process about, what all the process involved in creating a movie. Actually, it was actually done in Premiere, but it was done by someone who did not know how to utilize Premiere. It was actually done in Premiere, though. But yeah, no, I get that. There are a lot of things that I would do differently now when it comes to making something like that. Definitely. But yeah, like the sound was terrible. Like, I can't believe this is the first time I've seen that video in 3 years. So I haven't seen it since my last presentation of the video. It's just one of the things that it's on my school folder, but I haven't seen it in a long time. And now that I heard how awful I did the sound editing, like, I'm surprised that I did that. And some of the cuts were just so sudden. Like, wow. How sudden was that? But I still think it looks pretty good. That was done on my first year at university for Introduction to Cinema. And I still think it's a good representation of how I feel about the cinema and about the visual arts in general. You know, that's why I criticize and analyze the shows that we are watching, and I'll keep doing that, obviously. And that's why I enjoy when you send me terrible writing advice, PSA, and all of that good stuff. So, to answer your question, keep them coming. Right. So, I have been streaming for 5 hours, I think. 5 hours now. Yeah, no, definitely. But in my defense, it was my first year at university. You know, the only thing I had done previously that was more or less professional was in After Effects. I did the Earth exploding. So that was more or less my background. I really evolved thanks to university, definitely. When it comes to editing, when it comes to looking at film, it really made me evolve. Yeah, so yeah. But yeah, I've been streaming for like 5 hours, 4.5 hours, I'm not sure. But I really do have to go. Mega Man, it was lovely to have you. And obviously to the other people that were here, which I unfortunately did not have the opportunity to say goodbye. But, you know, it is what it is. But it was honestly very lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for watching. And I guess I'll see you guys on the next video. Goodbye.